So when we're talking about conflict and we're talking about selfish ambition, Paul says something here that I think is brilliant. Right at the end of Philippians, what does he want to leave them with? What's this final sort of exhortation? And he says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, excellent, praiseworthy. When you're in conflict and when you're thinking about yourself, you're not thinking about any of those things. So if you're having an argument with your spouse, or if you're having deep conflict with your child, the last thing that you're meditating on is all the excellent, praiseworthy, lovely, admirable, and pure things. Your focus is on how can I be right? How can I get them back? Where's the justice here? And all of those questions are about the ego and the self. And so when it comes to dealing with conflict, I think Paul helps us, and he says, look, you got to reframe and begin to think differently. It's just, it comes back to the same principles, doesn't it, of renew your mind.
It does.
All the time. And that's I don't know how you find that. I find that almost impossible in moments of conflict to sit here and meditate on those
It's exhausting.
things. It's exhausting.
I mean, I say that because it's a constant thing.
Yeah.
It's, you really have to train your mind to go there. That when you face a conflict, when you face a situation, you're faced with, I have to go there and think on these things.
Right.
Think on what is good, what is pure, what is like, I have to go there. And I just have to totally just throw my brainwaves in another direction because that's not where they're headed.
It's not where we naturally drift to.
No, and I think, and it's not that we're bad people. I'm not saying this because we're bad people.
Yeah, I got it.
It's natural for us to do that.
Yeah.
There's something in all of us that desires self-preservation. I want to preserve myself.
Right.
There's just something in us, that wants to live. And that's why Paul, always referenced, well, for me to live is Christ, but to die is gain.
Right.
There's just something about a death to the self that needs to be really an everyday occurrence for me. I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about me.
No, I got you. Yeah. Well, I think you're talking about everybody and the experience, the human condition that we all face. And Paul is, he's dealing with so much selfishness in Philippians, which is great. I actually have a theory when it comes to Philippians, because Paul could potentially die here. He recognizes that.
He recognizes it. Yes, he does.
Very early on. Look, for me, to die is gain. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But if I'm with you, I know it's for your benefit.
Yeah.
But he's very acutely aware the fact that, he's trusting God, but the powers that be, are accusing him of something that he has done. Yeah. Which is to declare Jesus as Lord, not Caesar as Lord.
That's right.
So he can't lie. There's no false in what they're saying.
No.
And so the accusation stands, as it were, and Paul can't, with a good conscience say, well, that's not true, because it's blatantly true. And so, but I do kind of wonder, my theory is this, that Paul, I wonder if the churches are already talking, whispering, and thinking about, well, who takes over? Who's Paul's right-hand man? Who's positioning themselves, in positions of power? Kind
of like the disciples did.
And it doesn't change, does it, from disciple generation to another generation? And I can't help but think that Paul is trying to deal with this selfish ambition aspect in case he passes on that, like, guys, that's right. This position, isn't even one that you should desire in the sense that James says, not all of you should desire to be teachers because you'll be judged more harshly than anybody else. Yeah. With this comes way more responsibility. But I can't help but feeling like he's dealing with insecurities and selfish ambition that resides potentially within leadership in a lot of these churches.
Yeah, well, remember in chapter 1, he talked about how some preach out of envy and rivalry and all of that, so to what you're saying, it goes along with that thought.
Yeah, you if you have that in mind and you read through Philippians again, it makes sense, a lot of what he's talking about.
It does.
Because we all have that inside of us, and it always inevitably leads to conflict. Yeah, and conflict inevitably leads to us pathologizing people. Like, we're immutable, I'm unchangeable, I'm perfect, and there's something pathologically wrong with you. You're the one with the issue, and so you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.